Welcome back. We are covering number 6 of 25 inspirational stories to encourage you in your business journey. If you are discouraged, if you're feeling a little bit blue about where you are in the process, or maybe you're struggling and maybe in the verge on the verge of failing, right? I want to encourage you not to give up. It's hard. It's easy to say don't be discouraged, and that's an unfair statement. I think it's okay for you to be discouraged because you poured everything into something, right? And it didn't work out the way you wanted to. What I want to say is own it, be discouraged, but don't hold on to it. Rest up, rejuvenate, and get back out there and keep fighting and try again. That's what I want to encourage you to do. I think it's unrealistic for people to say, oh, you shouldn't feel a certain way, or you shouldn't, you shouldn't be discouraged. It's okay to be discouraged, and hopefully that fuels you to keep going. And that's what I want to do. I want to talk to you about, different people who have also had that same discouragement and failure or struggled, and people who went on to have some pretty good acclaim, right? And that's the whole point of this series. So before we get started with number 6, Michael Jordan, want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and hit the alert button, and give me a follow here. Again, I started out with 6 subscribers when we started this series. We're up to number 11, so thank you very much. I do appreciate it, and that's encouraging to me. Even though I'm not don't have the thousands of subscribers and views that a lot of folks have, I'm still putting in the hard work and going to keep plowing away. And hopefully, this series will be an encouragement for you. All right, so Michael Jordan. Yeah, and I say his name like I think everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. There's enough film of him out there in the dunk contest and things. But I think there's been a couple of generational players who have come along since Michael, who I watched and appreciated and admired from afar, especially being a Detroit Pistons fan, appreciated his talent there. But there's been, obviously Kobe who came after him, and then, obviously there's Shaq as well. But then there's LeBron, who's kind of everybody's nowadays Michael Jordan or Kobe, right? So Jordan, I think everyone's heard of Jordan. If you're a basketball player, everyone should know of him. But there's a lot of people out there who may not know of Michael Jordan and his story, right? So he was actually born on February 17th in, of all places, Brooklyn, New York. And I did not know that. So I just thought he was born and raised in North Carolina. So I learned something new as well. So while in New York, his mother, Denise, was a bank employee and his father, James, was an equipment supervisor. And in 1968, his father, James, moved he and Jordan and his 4 siblings from New York to Wilmington, North Carolina. And Jordan is number 4 of 5 siblings, and he competed with his older brother Larry for the most part in a lot of the sports that he played, which he played basketball, baseball, and football. And he had a real high passion for baseball since he was young as well, right? So he again, he thrived on fuel, right? When he had failures, he thrived on fuel, and he had a few failures, right? And I think everybody, the narrative out there, and I'll talk about his first one here, is they talk about him being cut from his basketball team, and that wasn't really the case. However, there's some truth to that story, right? He wasn't cut; he just didn't make varsity, and that was his first, I guess, if you want to call it a failure. Again, he was good enough to try out, and he still was good enough to play on his JV team as well. So I kind of hate that narrative that it sounds like he was just cut altogether and had to go play, YMCA league ball or a church league or something like that. He got cut because he wasn't tall enough at the time. He was only 5'11", and he had a taller friend who was a sophomore who did make the varsity team, and I think that was some fuel and a little bit embarrassing for him. But he did go on to score, that season as a sophomore, a couple of 40-point games, right? And again, there's his fuel. So, but it was a failure in his eyes. And from, all accounts, Jordan takes everything as a personal slight and uses it as fuel, So he eventually went on to, make the varsity team, obviously did really well and was recruited to the University of North Carolina and ended up hitting the game-winning shot for the national championship. He's a prolific scorer. I mean, all around, he's a prolific defender as well, but really kind of known for his scoring in his early days. And, as he kind of started figuring out what he wanted to accomplish, he wanted championships, right? But he struggled to overcome my Detroit Pistons and was knocked out many times by them before figuring out how to win. And the Pistons, the bad boys, the bullies, they're my bad boys, they're my bullies, and I love them for it, and really kind of forced him to get over that hump, and he ended up winning 3 championships. But after doing that, right, it was pretty grueling if you don't know, playing, as much as he did and playing in the off season for the Olympic team that like he did as well. It's hard on your body. And I think he lost his father as well. And he decided to, his father was actually killed and murdered. That's a very tragic story as well. But um, Jordan retired after winning the three rings in a row, right? And he tried baseball. But, and at the time when he was trying baseball, there were guys like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders who were two sport pros, right? And both really good at both sports, right? So football for Bo and Deion, and then both of them played baseball. And I think Deion Sanders actually was one of the first athletes to play in two pro games on the same day, if I'm recalling that correctly. So I think Jordan thought, hey, you know what, I'm the best at my game in the NBA, and I'm going to go ahead and try baseball. Didn't work out for him, right? He played for a couple of years in the minors, and it was a good experience for him. I think rejuvenated and gave him some rest, but he ultimately ended up leaving baseball and coming back and returning to the NBA. Excuse me. He actually didn't win another championship his first year back. Was knocked out by an upcoming team in Orlando, and so he then after that next season, they came back and they won another three championships. So he has multiple awards. I'm not going to read all of these here because this video is starting to get a little bit long, but again, he made a second comeback after retiring again with the Washington Wizards, and put up some pretty good points in his 40s, I believe. So he's currently the co-owner of the Hornets, and he's said that he's worth about $2.1 billion. So you guys know enough to how to research and look him up and watch the stories. And there's a great ESPN series out as well that really kind of documents, the whole dynasty that the Bulls had there. So that's going to do it for this series. And again, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and click the alert button, and we will talk to you at our next video.